Hey y'all, welcome back to my third and final episode of this mini-series. So quick recap for you. I've been married and divorced 3 times. My children and I were homeless for roughly 2.5 years. We are now living in an apartment. I have one son who is engaged. I have one son who's married and will be celebrating his 4-year anniversary this coming August. My daughter is married and a few months ago celebrated her 3rd anniversary. And then my youngest boy, Stanley, who some of you have already met, is still living at home with me, and that's due to his ADHD and his autism and his other disabilities. He is can't think now all of a sudden. Wow. Learning disability is what I'm trying to say. Gosh. So in this final episode, I want to go over a few things that I did not mention in the previous 2 episodes. During our time hopping from motel to motel to motel to friends to motels, we had CPS called on us 4 different times. And I'm 99% sure who made 3 out of those 4 calls. Not 100% sure on the 4th one, but I think it's the same as the other ones, but that's beside the point. Each time CPS came to our motel room, they would talk to my children, talk to me, check the refrigerator, look at the room, ask all kinds of questions. Then they would talk to all of us together, and then they would leave, and I would get a letter stating that it was an unfounded visit. This happened 3 more times. They'd come in, they'd talk to my kids by themselves, then they would talk to me by myself, then they would talk to all of us together. They would check the room, make sure everything was tidy, make sure they had clean clothes, make sure they had food in the fridge. And each time it was an unfounded visit. The 4th and final time that they actually came to us, the guy was really, really nice. And after everything was all said and done, he looked at me and he said, verbatim, "We will not be bothering you anymore. We can see that this is harassment and everything seems to be in order. Each time we've come, everything has been fine. The kids are happy, you're happy, they're well fed, their clothes are clean. We will not be bothering you anymore." And after that, I said, thank God, because it was becoming a nuisance. There was absolutely no reason for any of those CPS visits. In fact, I had a conversation with a friend of mine just a few days ago about that, because she's got a friend who's in a motel and is having a similar issue with CPS, where they're constantly going to her motel room and bothering her, and it's I don't know personally, but according to my friend, it's an unfounded visit each time. And I can understand, if they were coming in to take your kids away just based on the fact that you were in a motel or homeless, then they would literally have to take every child away from every single homeless person in the United States. Do you know how many kids that would put in the foster system? But no, they don't base it on just that. They base it on circumstances. They base it on, talking to the kids. Are they happy? Are they getting fed? Do they wear clean clothes? Do they go to school? Are you happy? You know, they check everything. You know, they talk to each child, then they talk to the parent, then they talk to all of you together, you know, and then of course they have to check and make sure there's food in the fridge. And so it's a waste of time in a lot of cases. Not all cases, but you know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, one of the other things that I had not mentioned, and I've been debating with myself whether or not I should, but and I don't know how you all are going to react, but I think it might help some of you out, maybe help some of you understand, and maybe help some of you see that you can move on and grow from your experiences, no matter how good or how bad they are. And the reason I say that is because there were 3 different instances where I had, while my kids were in school, a traumatic experience, and I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to trigger myself, but I want y'all to know that you can overcome and grow from whatever you're going through in life. Whether it be homelessness, we were homeless for 2.5 years, and now we're in an apartment. I still am not to the point where I can actually get us into a house, you know, where I'm not making somebody else rich. I want to make myself rich. But nevertheless, I'm no longer homeless. There are other, you know, there's all kinds of experiences out there. Everybody has different experiences. The point is that whether they be good or bad, you can overcome and grow from those experiences. It doesn't matter the situation. If you come out of a situation alive, you can overcome and grow. Yes, it may take a long time, and a lot of patience and a lot of understanding, especially from those around you, but it can happen. Sorry, this is my go-to drink when I don't have any tea in the house. Anyway, one of the other things that I failed to mention, and I don't know why, because I kind of just jumped over this little bit of information, which would have made more sense later on when I was talking about getting a car from my son's friend's aunt or sister or something like that. But the reason why we even needed a new car was because after we became homeless, like literally 2 months, maybe 3 months after we became homeless, my engine blew up in my car. And that was because of a lack of being able to keep oil in it. And the reason why we couldn't keep oil in it was because the idiot that I was dating at the time decided he was going to take my car four-wheeling. It was a minivan. He decided to take it four-wheeling and punctured a hole in the oil pan underneath, and it was constantly leaking oil. And so I was constantly having to, like almost daily, I would say probably about every 2 to 3 days is a little more accurate, of putting oil into the car. But when you're homeless, you don't have the money for that particular luxury. And so, needless to say, yeah, my engine blew, and we were without a car for about 2.5 years. This is almost as long as we were homeless. So yeah, that was fun. Trying to, figure out how to get kids to school, get to the grocery store, do other errands that needed to be done. I tried to, not create as many errands as possible because I didn't have a car, because I don't do taxi cabs, and there's a reason for that. Asking friends was a chore. So yeah, it was an interesting 2.5 years from the time we first became homeless until the time we got into this place. Now, moving on to after we moved into our apartment, I'm thankful, I am so thankful that we were able to get this place. However, I do have complaints. It's very old, it's very run down, the electrical is outdated, the plumbing is outdated. About a year after we moved in, our one and only bathroom upstairs had to be completely redone, because the tub was about ready to fall through the ceiling. It was leaking everywhere. Pipes directly under the tub had to be redone. Yeah, it was a big mess. A lot of the electrical outlets in this apartment, I don't know about the other two apartments, but in this one, there's several outlets that cannot be used because they don't work for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not an electrician. I just know they don't work. And so we don't use them. There are light switches throughout the apartment that have no use. They're just there. Kind of comical, actually. The carpet there's no padding whatsoever under any of the carpet in this apartment. And when I asked about having the carpet redone and have padding put in, their response was, no, apartments don't have padding under their carpets. And I looked at this lady and said, you want to fucking bet? Every apartment I've ever lived in had padding under the carpet. This one does not. It's like walking on concrete all the time, 24/7. And with my back issues, I can't do that. I have to have padding under the carpet. So when Jonathan, my oldest boy, and his wife moved out, and I moved my bedroom from upstairs to downstairs so that I would have the bigger room, to put my desk, office supplies, dressers, and all that stuff in here. Before we even moved my room downstairs, my adopted son Jamie helped me redo the carpet. So I bought new carpet and padding, and his dad came over and put the padding and the carpet down for me, and then they helped me repaint this room so that I would have padding under my feet when I walk on the carpet. Anyway, I'm kind of getting off track a little bit, but basically what I'm trying to say is that since we've moved into this apartment, I've done a lot better financially. Not great, but at least I can, live. I'm surviving. As my children started moving out, I started realizing that I have mental disabilities of my own due to many traumatic experiences, PTSD, and other things that I'm not going to go into at this point in time. Maybe later down the road, I might be able to touch on that stuff, but anyway, I believe that is all I have for this mini-series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to comment. I'll be happy to answer anything you have. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.